U.S. actor and Thai son struggling to survive ordeal in India as they wait to fly home to life in Thailand. Jeffrey Giuliano is a well-known movie actor and writer of books on legendary figures in the music industry. He is 66 years old and stranded in India right now with his 12-year-old son, Eden. The pair have never been apart for even a day since the boy was born 12 years ago. Jeffrey has managed to survive up to his week on some of the cash he brought with him in donations via PayPal, which he applies to his credit card. He needs cash right now to survive. He is trying to get himself and his son home to Bangkok so their life can resume as normal. Movie actor and book writer, Jeffrey Giuliano, is reaching out again for help as he tries to survive in Jaipur, India with his 12-year-old Thai son, Eden. However, he is warning that he is growing concerned for the state of Eden's health. The father and son are living in fear that someday this week, the pair will be ejected from their hostel as they will not be able to pay the bill. The 66-year-old Jeffrey and his son are so desperate that he is prepared to run the gauntlet again in asking for help despite being the subject of a particularly nasty backlash at the end of April from some of our less than sympathetic readers. Movie actor and writer, Jeffrey Giuliano, is warning again that both himself and his young son Eden are facing life on the streets as money that well-wishers had sent him and his own reserves will not last beyond the middle of this week. The U.S. man and his Thai son cannot access Thai government repatriation flights because Jeffrey, as an American citizen, is prohibited from availing of the service. The self-described family of two, according to Giuliano, have no real outside friends. They are in dire need after Jeffrey forgot to bring his bank debit card from home and exceeded his budget because of the extended trip. They have found themselves locked down in India since the end of March rather than here at home in Thailand, where they have a home and access to their own resources. Movie personality and acclaimed writer reached out to foreigners linked with Thailand at the end of April. Last month, we brought you the story of the former movie and music industry writer Jeffrey Giuliano, who has been stranded in India with his son since early March. The father and son cannot fly home and are trying to survive on limited resources from their initial funds and with the assistance of some good-hearted Thai Examiner readers who reached out to help. The older man and his son are just waiting to be able to fly home to their comfortable life in Pattaya. Hostel in India is their security right now. The pair is still stranded in Jaipur, Rajasthan. They have become prisoners of the COVID-19 virus emergency. At the end of April, they appealed to Thai Examiner readers for help to have the Thai government allow them to fly home together on Thai Airways repatriation flights. Unfortunately, those flights are reserved for Thai nationals only, and although Eden qualifies, his father does not as an American citizen. While they received and were thankful for essential support, they were also the subject of some very negative and cruel commentary. Now, they are seeking help again. Jeffrey Giuliano says that there is the very real danger that both the actor and his son could be on the streets in Jaipur this week if they cannot pay their bill at their moderately priced hostel in Jaipur called Blue Beds. The room at the Blue Beds hostel right now is their security and they cannot afford to lose it as they wait for the airways to reopen. Jeffrey admits that, initially, it was not the cheapest hostel and has recently tried to move to some place cheaper to conserve funds. However, now he says that because of the lockdown, it is very hard to find accommodation open. Not only could we not find a cheaper room, but they wouldn't take us anyway because they are superstitious because we are not from their country and maybe we would bring bad luck to them. Says his son looks gaunt like a skeleton because of the ordeal surviving on limited food supplies. The elderly man is growing concerned for his cheerful son, Eden. The ongoing effects of living on limited food resources have left him looking like a skeleton as the two sit together day after day waiting to fly home to Thailand. He explains that he is trying to keep his son's spirits up, but his son is also highly intelligent and sensitive to the danger they find themselves in. Waiting for a window of opportunity with air flights to get home to their comfortable life in Thailand. For nearly 2 months, the elderly father and his 12-year-old son have been living day to day as they wait for the opportunity to return home. The U.S. citizen and his son, who is a Thai national, were featured in the Thai Examiner some weeks ago on April 27. Jeffrey has made it clear that once he has landed in Thailand, he will have access to his own resources and will not need any further help. Both father and son are also prepared to enter into quarantine on arrival. However, as we spoke to him this week in Jaipur, he received a text from the friendly manager of the hostel reminding him that his bill will be due again from the 14th of May. Once the airways are open and flights start up, It's just 20 minutes to reach the international airport in Jaipur. Once the international airways are reopened again and planes are flying between India and Thailand, Jeffrey will then have to get 2 one-way tickets back to Thailand for himself and his son. He points out that he has a Thai visa and re-entry permit valid until October, and his son is a Thai citizen with a Thai passport. The problem he faces is just when will both Thailand and India allow air flights to take off and land again, and when will flights to Bangkok be available? He then needs cash for the flights and to cover the pair's limited expenses until then. Cannot access his bank account in Thailand but has a US credit card which is maxed out at its limit. The father and son cannot access their Thai bank account in India as Jeffrey does not have internet access to his bank account and simply forgot to bring his debit card with him when leaving in early March for what he thought would be 2 weeks in India with his son. "I came here for 2 weeks with $2,000 and it is true. I forgot my ATM card, but I thought $2,000 would cover 2 weeks in India with a dental work. My son is just eating rice with an egg every day. He is far too thin and I am worried about him. We sleep as much as possible every day to pass the time," Jeffrey explained this week. He has also disclosed to our reporter that he has tried to have the credit card limited on his card extended but admits that there have been 4 late payments in the last year, so that option is precluded. Arrived in India on March 3 for a 2-week trip. Mr. Giuliano and his son arrived in New Delhi, India on March 3 on 2 one-way tickets with $2,000. The father and son traveled to the famous Hare Krishna or ISKCON spiritual retreat in Vrindavan. While there, they had also arranged for Eden, his son, to make an audiobook recording. Mr. Giuliano has long been associated with this faith. Vrindavan was famously frequented by Beatles guitarist and member George Harrison in September 1966. Jeffrey Giuliano is an accomplished and complex character with a long history in the media business. Jeffrey Giuliano is a well-known writer and actor. His series of books on music and rock legends such as Beatles members George Harrison and Paul McCartney, as well as other stars such as Brian Jones of the Rolling Stones, have established him as an expert on that extraordinary musical era. Mr. Giuliano hosted a syndicated radio show entitled Giuliano's Roots of Rock, which aired in the United States and Canada in last 2005. His publications were critically acclaimed but less popular with the staunchest fans of his subjects. He was well known for the depth and methodical nature of the research put into his biographical accounts. George Harrison once told his devoted wife Olivia, "That guy knows more about my life than I do," according to her account, and it was not meant to be praise for Mr. Giuliano, whose depth of coverage of his subjects drew disdain from some quarters. Jeffrey Giuliano has also played in a long list of film roles and also curiously acted as both Ronald McDonald in the Burger King and North American advertising productions, as well as his still ongoing and extensive acting career. This is despite being a vegan since 1970 and a campaigner against processed foods. Original intention was to have dental surgery in India and stay for 2 weeks after arriving on March 3. His original intention was to have dental surgery in India and stay for just 2 weeks. He also made an appointment for March 4 to inquire about liposuction in New Delhi, where such procedures are cheap, but ultimately, after hearing a presentation on all sorts plastic surgery miracles on offer, Jeffrey decided the procedure was too perilous. He ultimately had questions about hygiene standards, especially as he was accompanied by his son. He had been told by sources in the movie industry that there was no point in even casting for further parts without having his teeth fixed. He also faced concerns about his weight. He had budgeted $400 for the work, but it never got done as the crisis took over. "The money I brought, $2,000. Of this, about $400 would have gone to them, but they closed. So when the virus hit, that money was used for survival. I broke 4 teeth on a stunt in a film. This was my only hope of reasonable repair," he said this week. Took his son to a Hare Krishna temple to introduce him further to his own faith when lockdown happened. However, what started as a 2-week stay was extended after Jeffrey took his son Eden to the Hare Krishna temple to introduce him to his yogic faith. Jeffrey sees himself as a mid-level adherent to that faith. The pair later traveled to another ISKCON or Hare Krishna temple in Jaipur, but it closed when India went into lockdown between the 22nd and 24th of March. The lockdown in India was introduced without warning between a Sunday test run and confirmation following on that Tuesday. It is stricter than Thailand, where a state of emergency was declared and a nighttime curfew was imposed 2 days later, on March 26. Lucky to find a hostel that would take them in after the lockdown was introduced by surprise. Jeffrey says he was then lucky to find a hostel that would accept him and his son without a medical cert. They have since been staying at the Bluebeds Hostel in Jaipur, the capital of Rajasthan state. I follow the moral and ethical portions of the faith. No meat eating, no intoxication, controlled sex life, meditation in the morning. I would not impose any faith upon my son, that's for him to decide when he's older. Here is the ISKCON temple we stayed in Jaipur until it closed. Jeffrey said this week from Jaipur as he sent a photo of the temple along with other supporting documentation such as their entry stamp when they arrived in India on March 3 last, from Thailand. Negative commentary caused young boy distress. While the article on April 27 last resulted in some help for the man and his son, it generated a wave of unfortunate negative commentary which caused distress for Jeffrey's son when he read the comments online. Much of the negative commentary centered on a video some years ago of Jeffrey at a supermarket in Thailand when he had argued with a Thai national and made some controversial remarks about the United States. Other people criticized him strongly for putting his son in jeopardy by traveling to India. Some readers questioned his story and pointed out what they saw as inconsistencies. Older generation actor who expresses himself sometimes in colorful and general terms. Jeffrey is 66 years of age and as an actor is used to expressing himself in colorful and imaginative terms. He is an older man from another generation. This led to several misunderstandings between the US man and our readers. Eden, the actor's Thai son, has lived nearly all his life in Thailand but has been reared as an American. One misunderstanding was Jeffrey's claim that his son Eden had been reared in the United States. The fact is that Eden only lived in Jeffrey's home country for 2 years and has spent nearly all his life living with Jeffrey at their home in Pattaya. Jeffrey meant to say that he had reared him as an American in terms of his outlook and culture. For instance, the boy speaks little or no Thai. Eden is due to commence schooling in August at a relatively inexpensive private school in Pattaya. Jeffrey explained that the reason he brought his son back from the United States to Thailand was that he found he was not accepted in his home country. I have no ties with the United States. I have lived in Thailand since 2002. We went back for 2 years for my son's schooling, but he was bullied, beaten and made fun of. They called him China Boy, so we came back. I found a perfect international school for just 100,200 baht a year by our home. I can afford that. It starts in August, he said this week. I never had a father, so I swore that before I left this world, my son would never know poverty and that I would be the best father I could possibly be. I'm still doing my best under these circumstances. Claims that Jeffrey spent his money on plastic surgery after unearthing March 4 post on Facebook. The actor was lambasted online when some Thai Examiner readers researched his Facebook page and saw a post just after he arrived in Thailand on March 4 where he talked about plastic surgery and making it as a movie star. Jeffrey, at one stage in his career, was a full-time actor in Hollywood but always wanted to make it as a movie star. He didn't make it, but the dream has never died. He still tries for parts and plays roles. There have been 3 movie appearances this year, he tells us. He explained to the Thai Examiner this week that the day he posted that, he had just attended the free consultation with the clinic about liposuction and also discussed other procedures which sounded exciting. I'm an actor, Jeffrey explains. The prices were attractively cheap, but he was afraid of the procedures due to hygiene concerns and also the fact that he was accompanied by his son. It never happened, he says this week from India, and when asked about how it looks he replied, I'm an actor. And that is part of the problem he has experienced during this ordeal, where a difficult reality is bitingly close to the bone. He explained from his hostel room in Jaipur this week that his interest in plastic surgery was piqued by what he has been told by agents: if he is ever to land another screen role, he has to fix his teeth and look a bit younger. Although the father and writer has put that career behind him as the day job, the dream has never left him and he continues to be an actor. Could not have predicted the extent of this emergency in early March. Even if he could have, it was a mistake. He has been accused stingingly of being irresponsible by taking his son on this trip, but explains that even though that may be so in hindsight, to err is human. Also, who could have predicted the extent of this historic catastrophe even in early March? Even if so, Jeffrey did not. Needs $500 to $1,000 to get by until early June. Jeffrey says that, at present, he and his son have access to $2,000. Right now Jeffrey needs $500 for food until early June. He is hoping that, at that point, There may be some news on access to flights to Thailand, hoping that the restriction at either end may be lifted and airlines crank up operations. Good father who has never been apart from his son since he was born 12 years ago in Thailand. Jeffrey stresses that he has never been apart from his son for even one day since the moment he was born, and their current predicament has been caused by this unprecedented situation. The only person my 12-year-old has in this world is me, so I take very good care of my health even though I'm 66. I have never smoked, drank, taken drugs, or gone with lady bars in my life. Eden is all I have, so I am a dedicated father, he told the Thai Examiner this week. He is asking for help through his email and PayPal ID, which is milesfur@gmail.com. Duo run a small audiobooks concern together. 12-year-old Eden is the boss of the firm called Iconic Arts. Jeffrey explains that he has access to funds at home when he returns to Pattaya with his son. The pair have been running an audiobooks company for some time now called Icon Audio Arts. Jeffrey describes his son Eden as the boss of the venture who keeps tight control over the business finances. He points out that Eden is an accomplished voiceover artist and is actively involved with his father in running their fledgling concern. Help Mr. Giuliano if you can. The Thai Examiner is asking readers to help Jeffrey if possible at this time. He is a man like many who live in Thailand and visit regularly, who walks his own path. He is a man who has achieved some success in life and at times, been controversial. He lives a comfortable, good life with his son in Pattaya. In March, he simply took the wrong turn when he headed to Jaipur instead of heading home to Thailand with Eden. He describes his yogic faith as his moral compass, and while he may have eccentricities in this respect, he is not unlike many other foreigners to the kingdom. If you cannot or do not wish to help, that is fine, but please do not subject him and his young son to unfair or hurtful commentary. This is a man who is currently stuck and needs a dig out. It is quite wrong to criticize and condemn any man or woman at a time like this, especially with a 12-year-old son in tow. Further reading. U.S. man and 12-year-old Thai son face life on the streets in India if they cannot return to Thailand right now. Australian man's heartbreak cut off from his Thai wife. Begs to be included on repatriation flights. Spouses of Thai wives down under denied access to limited repatriation flights from Australia this week. Police to track down arrivals last night who escaped Suvarnabhumi Airport in defiance of emergency. Australian retiree is spending his own pension money on supporting the poor during the crisis in Chiang Mai. Stranded 66-year-old German tourist seeks help on the street from a Good Samaritan in central Bangkok. Police in Phuket await post-mortem results after deaths of two elderly Westerners last weekend at home. Stranded Russians offered free food in Phuket as Aeroflot begins to airlift over 21,000 stranded home to safety. Germans arrested for defying local authorities in Chiang Mai and removing COVID-19 checkpoint. City area popular with foreigners to be targeted by new lockdown measures in Pattaya from Tuesday. Challenge of defeating both the health and economic emergency, a big ask for Thailand's government in crisis mode. Conditions tighten, grow more tense for visitors staying on in Thailand during the coronavirus emergency.